The Olympian Gods, brought to you by Ancient and Medieval Adventures at the Museum of Antiquities. Greetings, mortals! We are so happy that you could join us today for this introduction to the Olympian Gods, who played a very important role in the daily life of the ancient Greeks. We have 12 Olympian gods and 2 important bonus gods to get through today, so let's get started. While the ancient Greeks believed in many gods and goddesses who protected them and decided their fates, there were 12 who were especially important and widely worshipped. These most important gods were the 12 Olympians, and it was believed that many of them resided on Mount Olympus, a high mountain located in the middle of Greece. The male Olympian gods were Zeus, Poseidon, Apollo, Hermes, Dionysus, Ares, and Hephaestus. The female Olympians were Hera, Artemis, Demeter, Aphrodite, and Athena. Each of these gods had their own set of divine powers and symbols, which we will go through together in the following slides. Zeus was the king of all the gods and goddesses in the heavens and of all people on earth. Many referred to him as Father. He was a sky god, and his power was in controlling the weather, but he was especially known for his thunder and lightning. His favorite animal was the mighty eagle, and his symbol was the striking lightning bolt. Hera was the queen of all the gods and goddesses, and was the wife of Zeus. Her divine power was in overseeing marriage and the family. Her favorite animal was the colorful peacock, and her symbols were the tiara and scepter. Poseidon was the mighty god of the sea, and he had the power to cause hurricanes and earthquakes, but he was also a protector of horses. He was the brother of Zeus. His favorite animal was the horse, of course, and his symbol was the 3-pronged spear called the trident. Bright-eyed Aphrodite was the goddess of love and beauty. Naturally, she was the most beautiful goddess of all. She was the wife of Hephaestus, another god we will introduce to you shortly. Her favorite animal was the dove, and her symbols were the rose and the bee. Apollo was a very diverse god who had several divine responsibilities. He was the god of music and healing, but he was also the god of the sun. He was the son of Zeus and twin brother to the goddess Artemis, who we will introduce on the next slide. Apollo's favorite animal was the swan, and his symbols were the lyre, or harp, and the leaves of the laurel tree. Artemis was swift and cunning, making her a great hunter, but she also protected the animals of the forests. She was the goddess of the moon and the twin sister of Apollo, meaning that she was also a child of Zeus. Her favorite animal was the deer, but she was also quite fond of bears, and her symbols were the bow and arrow. Demeter was very much a mother goddess of the earth. She was the goddess of agriculture and oversaw the seasons, the growing of plants, and the harvest. She loved green, fruit, and flowers, which she often wore in her hair. She was the mother of Persephone, who was made to marry Hades, god of the underworld, which made Demeter very sad at times. Her favorite animal was the pig, and her symbols were ears of grain and the torch. Hermes was very important for keeping up communications between gods and mortals, people on earth. He was the messenger god and therefore had to fly quickly to get his messages delivered on time. Hermes was also the patron god of merchants, but he was also known as a trickster god, and when he was just a baby he managed to steal Apollo's flock of sheep. He was the son of Zeus. Hermes' favorite animal was the tortoise, and his symbols were the snake-wrapped staff called the caduceus, along with his winged cap and boots. Athena was probably Zeus's favorite child, since she had power that nearly matched his own. She was the goddess of war, in particular war for a noble cause. She was also the goddess of wisdom and of weaving, making her a goddess much loved by all. Many cities in Greece considered Athena their protector and patron goddess. Her favorite animal was the owl, and her symbols were the helmet, shield, and olive branch. Hephaestus was a very important god in the ancient Greek world. He was essentially the god of technology, but his specialty was the forge and metalworking, making magnificent weapons and tools for both the gods and for men who were favored by the gods. He was also the god of fire and volcanoes. He was the husband of Aphrodite, although they often did not get along. His favorite animal was the donkey, who helped him carry loads of metal and tools to his forge every day, and his symbols were the hammer and tongs. Dionysus was the god of good times and festivities. Wine was such an important drink in ancient Greece that Dionysus was the god assigned to oversee its production. He did a lot of taste testing as the overseer of wine. He was also the patron god of the ancient theater, a pastime many Greeks enjoyed. Dionysus's favorite animal was the panther, or tiger, and his symbols were grapes, the wine cup, and pine cones. The last of our Olympians, but not the least, is Ares, the Greek god of war and destruction in war. His role was very different from Athena's, since his goal was to destroy cities. He was the son of Zeus. His favorite animal was the dog, and his symbols were the sword, spear, and shield. Even though we have now covered all 12 Olympian gods, there were two others who were also very important in the daily lives of the ancient Greeks. Hades was the god of the dead and the underworld. He was the brother of Zeus, but he was required to live in the underworld and oversee the souls of the departed. He had a special pet, his three-headed dog Cerberus, who guarded the entrance to the underworld. Hestia was the goddess of the hearth and home, and she was worshipped in every Greek household as their protector. Most of these very important gods, except for Hades, lived on Mount Olympus. This vast mountain is located in central Greece and can still be visited today. In fact, you can climb to the top yourself if you want to. If you climb it someday, maybe you will get lucky and meet one of these mighty ancient gods. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to check out the activity sheet that goes with this lesson. Please join us again for our other Ancient and Medieval Adventures online lessons and activities. We look forward to seeing you again.